Okay, so we're going to change these health and wellness information sessions to the Real McKoy Family Comedy Hour because my family's cracking me up. I guess nobody has anything to do with their time these days. Everybody's working from home and they're actually watching this stuff, which is surprising. My brother, he's doing really well. He's doing his push-ups. He's all before breakfast. That's before his coffee and a cigarette. So good for you, bro. But does it daily. You might still smoke. Hard habit to crack, I know, but no sugar in his coffee and the cigarette, and he's doing his push-ups, and his planks and stuff like that. So can't knock him. Good man. And I mentioned I've been doing this for a long, long time. Especially somebody asked me about the intermittent fasting yesterday, and my other sister now. I got two sisters, both comedians. Chimed in, and she remembers back in the day when I was growing up in England. What was I like? Must have been 8, 9, 10, something like that. And I hated breakfast. I remember we used to have typical English breakfast with eggs and bacon and baked beans and toast. And I'd eat as little as possible when my mom was around, and when she wasn't looking, I'd throw it all behind the fridge. So, every year when they, do the big clean and they pull out the fridge and everything, like spring cleaning, there was like a year's worth of food back there. So, see, even when I was young, something told me, don't eat breakfast. So, thanks for pointing that out, sis. See, I can't lie. What I'm telling you is the truth, people. I have this bad habit of telling the truth. Anyway, few issues and questions today. We'll get on with it real quick. Sorry about the sun in the background, but I just love the sun on my back. You don't need to see me anyway. Who is it? Nancy, headaches. Will they go away? I would imagine. I don't think I've ever had a headache in my life, to tell you the truth. So I don't even know what a headache feels like. But from what I understand, they're no fun. I'm just thinking, I'm not sure what else you're doing in your diet. But remember, your brain does need fuel. So if you're cutting out all the carbs, which is good, and this is going to tie into the next question, actually. I just thought about it. But you need to make sure you're getting ketones. So if your body's not sufficient enough yet, or efficient enough to break down fats and produce ketones, just look at some of the other things in your diet. Make sure there's no hidden sugars somewhere, because a lot of foods have hidden sugars in them. So just make sure you're checking for that. Lots of greens, nuts and seeds, things like that, avocados, all good fats. I would suggest, I think I mentioned this a few episodes ago, MCT oils, because they actually have the ability to cross the blood-brain barrier and give your brain fuel without insulin. So you got to remember, like, insulin shuttles sugar into the brain, into the muscles, into the cells in general. And if you don't have any insulin, if your insulin's not going up, then your brain might be lacking fuel. But if you're supplementing with MCTs, that might solve the problem. It will go away. Just keep plugging away. I've been researching like hell lately, and every ailment from epilepsy to Alzheimer's to high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, as we said, and cholesterol, everything is related to the shitty diet that we've been duped into believing since Ansel Keys in the 70s or 60s or whenever he was around, saying that fats are bad and carbs are good, and we all switched the diets, and fats cause heart disease and all this stuff. And now, 40 years later, we're learning it's the exact opposite. So we just have to take a little bit of time and get our body used to burning fats as fuel again, because it's a cleaner fuel, it's a more efficient fuel. And trust me, with all the feedback I've been getting so far, and it's only been a couple of weeks, it's been phenomenal. Like, just hang in there. You will lose weight. You will feel good. My sister, yesterday I was on the phone with her for an hour, half an hour, and she started doing it. She's used to have pains in her knees and her feet and all this stuff, and she's like, it just went away. It's gone. And she still has her wine gums. Well, we're half British, so that was my weakness too, wine gums. That was my fuel of choice in the day. But sorry, notifications keep coming through. We got to get back to what our body likes. Fats, ketones are our clean fuel. We don't produce as many free radicals, which is like rust in our bodies. Just like you see rust on your car, that's what sugar's doing to the insides of our body. So sugar does that, fats don't. So let's just try to flip over. It might take a little bit of time, a little bit of work, but you'll get there, trust me. Every study, every person I've talked to has benefited as long as they do it right and stick at it. But you just be careful, because I've said there's dirty keto too, where people are eating bacon and chicken, and we'll get into chicken one day because everybody thinks that's the clean meat. Oh my God, it's the worst thing out there, especially if you're getting it from like your regular supermarket or Costco or something. I just read an article on that, and people, omega-6 fatty acids, which are high in chickens, even free-range chickens, which they don't have in supermarkets, by the way. It is worse than sugar, okay? So seed oils, which are high in omega-6 fatty acids, and meat that's fed with grains, super high in omega-6 fatty acids. So all those things are just causing inflammation in your body and making you feel worse. So be careful. Like when you say, yeah, I'm eating clean now, I'm eating broccoli and chicken. Well, it ain't clean, trust me. But one day we'll get into chicken. It's just a long, long story. The other one, sorry, I can't remember his name. Okay, I'm not a doctor, thank God. You know, I wouldn't lower myself to that. Okay, I should say that. There are maybe 1 in a million doctors that are good, but doctors in general, don't put them up on a pedestal just because they can memorize textbooks, okay? I can memorize textbooks as well. Just like I said, I'd rather do something with my life than I can peddle pharmaceuticals the rest of my life. So when it comes to health and fitness, don't listen to them. They have no clue what they're talking about. So this is a guy, sorry, I forget, Ara or something like that. We should actually connect. I won't make it too long, I'll just make the point on here, because we should connect privately. This will get too deep. He was type 1, diagnosed a few years ago. Looks fit. Checked out your Instagram. Good for you, buddy. Because exercise definitely sucks up the extra sugar. I think what people don't realize is sugar is like, in your blood, is like, it's really sharp. Anything it touches, it damages. It cuts your blood lining, your vessels, any organ or cell it comes into contact with, it just destroys it. Okay, so it's not only like poison, but it's like cutting you up inside. I don't know how to explain it properly, but it's just damaging all the tissue that it comes in contact with. That's why it's so important that insulin is used to get that sugar out of your blood and into your cells right away. But as you get insulin resistant, you need more and more insulin, and eventually it just can't get rid of the sugar in your blood, and you become type 2 diabetic. So Ara being a type 1 diabetic, I don't like to get into this too much because it's dangerous, and you should obviously consult a physician if you can find one. When my daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, she was admitted to Sick Kids. She was 8 years old. Sick Kids Hospital. It's supposed to be the best hospital. You know what her diet was? They gave her white bread and orange juice. Why don't you just inject pure sugar into her fucking veins? Same result. And you know what they believed at the time? This was a while ago, but just take more insulin. Don't worry about it. Eat, be normal, and take more insulin. Well, fuck that, excuse my language, but that's the type of medical bureaucracy that we've been fighting for the last 30 years or more, okay? So, excuse the swearing. It just pisses me off when I hear stuff like that from a reputable establishment like that. So, all right, back to you. I can't see how being on a ketogenic diet, or again, I don't like to use terms, but eating a lot more fats and less sugars can hurt. Because it will help with your insulin resistance, because obviously you have to inject insulin, you will, and I had a huge conversation with my daughter the other day, is, people usually get fatter when they inject insulin, because that's what it does. It's a storage hormone, it stores fat. So the more insulin you have to give, the more insulin resistant you become. But with a ketogenic diet, you might reduce, again, I have to look into this a bit more, reduce the amount of insulin you need because you can reduce your insulin resistance, if that makes any sense. I can't, again, from it eating this way and fasting, of course. But again, you have to be careful that your blood sugar doesn't drop too low because that's more dangerous than it getting high. Again, I've already gone too long on this subject, but it seems to help in almost every ailment and disease that we have in this day and age. So I can't see it hurting, but obviously consult your physician, watch your blood sugar levels really closely. I hope you have a CGM, continuous glucose monitor, for those who don't know. It's easier to monitor your glucose, and yeah, I'll leave it at that, and I'll DM you directly because that's a bigger conversation. Sorry about that, guys. Everybody had to suffer through that, but I think it's important to realize that no matter what you're doing, no matter what state of health you're in, that this is a better way to a better, healthier, happier